The following podcast is part of the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. For advertising information or to find more great podcasts, visit us at www.theunderdogsports.com and follow us on Twitter at RealTheUnderdog.
Okay. Well, just for the record, we got the Sunny in Phoenix too. 52
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sunny in Phoenix podcast, a weekly podcast where we keep you up to date on everything Phoenix Suns basketball. My name is Charlie Erling, and as always, I'm joined by Mitch Krmpotich.
I don't know about you, but I feel good.
I don't know about you, but I feel good.
Wow. That pause was just as long as the punchline from the joke that you just told me before we started this episode. I like that.
Nice.
All right. This week, though, on the episode, we will obviously be talking about the Deandre Ayton trade. Lots of us, as Suns fans, have lots of different feelings about Deandre Ayton, but now it's time that we can all tell the truth because he's gone. So we'll talk about what we got in return and what we think about the trade.
Shoutouts are not in order because we haven't had a bet question in the offseason. But you can follow us on Twitter at Sunny and PHX Pod. Even though I don't like it, I'll still say hi if you say something. And if you don't, that's fine. Thanks for listening to this.
Short and sweet. All right. Deandre Ayton is traded. He ends up in Portland, and obviously the big name in this is Damian Lillard heading to Milwaukee. But from the Suns' perspective, Deandre Ayton, Toumani Camara, and I think that's all we gave out. No picks, right?
I think that's it. Yeah.
That's it. So just those two guys, and then in return, we're bringing back our new starting center, Jusuf Nurkic, and then fan favorite Grayson Allen. Also Nassir Little and Keon Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we all thought when we saw the return for this, and I think I'm guilty of this myself, but the minute I saw Deandre Ayton was traded, in that moment, it was going to be tough for me to accept whatever that return was going to be, because we knew it wasn't going to be for a star player. Ayton blew that for us, so that wasn't going to happen, but we heard all this talk about Nurkic earlier in the week, and it finally happened.
I don't know if we were going to get any better than this. I'm not saying this is a good return because I don't think it is, but I think it was the best we could do.
Yeah, I think so too. It sounds like there was another offer from the Mavericks. It was Tim Hardaway Jr. and I don't recall, a big of some sort.
Yeah, that's
right.
right.
Rashawn Holmes.
Oh, yeah, this is better than that for sure.
Yeah, that was something. I mean, Tim Hardaway Jr. has, he can still hoop, but this return, the more you look at it, the more you think about it, you can talk yourself into this.
I've seen people talk themselves into it. I saw someone say Nurkic is a top 5 center.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's very wild. Nurkic is a downgrade at starting center for us. I will fight that. If anyone wants to disagree, I will fight you on that one. But the depth that we're getting in return with Allen and Little, I think those two guys can be big parts of this offense, of this team, right away.
Yeah. I guess I don't know that much about Nassir Little. I don't remember him really doing anything with Portland, but maybe he's actually more solid than I think.
Well, I mean, you can look at him like Okogie.
Okay.
You can throw him in at small forward. He's a little undersized for that even, but he's still athletic. He gets to the rim. He dunks, plays some solid defense. I like what he brings to the table. I think he will cause some whatever anyone was expecting for the rotation to look like. I think Little will make an impact on that, as well as Grayson Allen.
Yeah, Grayson Allen for sure.
But again, we do get depth, but we just added, more under 6'5" guys, while we already have Booker, Beal, Gordon. It just seems like, how are we going to get those guys minutes? But I see Little getting some at small forward, and I don't think, is Grayson Allen and Eric Gordon going to be a backcourt duo for us off the bench now?
I don't think so. I mean, I really don't think we'll see Booker, Beal, and Durant not on the floor, like one of those guys. Like, we're not going to see all of them off the floor at any point. So our backcourt is often going to be Booker and Allen, or Little, or I guess Okogie, or whoever, or Beal and one of those guys.
True.
So
yeah,
that I guess I'm not too worried about. I kind of was. I will say, one of my first reactions, I was talking to some people at work about this. One of my first reactions was like, I'm still worried about backup point guard. But I'm really not. Like, we don't need like a full-on backup point guard. We don't really even have like a full-on starting point guard, but we don't need one. Like, I know they say it's Bradley Beal, but like, it doesn't matter. Booker, Beal, or Durant can all run that, like, point whatever position. And so that's fine. So, yeah. Grayson Allen, okay, I despise Grayson Allen. He's like my least favorite player in the league. I think most people dislike him. Apparently he shoots 40% from 3.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yep.
So, like, that's pretty cool. And this is the other thing with Grayson Allen. I think people viewed us as villains before he came. Now we're like full on the villain.
Yeah.
And I think we do have to embrace that. Like, KD has embraced that role for a long time. Booker, for whatever reason, has been assigned the role of the villain, even though, like, he's what everyone wants on their team, like a homegrown star that is committed to the franchise long-term through thick and thin. But for whatever reason, people look at him like a villain. Yeah. Probably just because they're jealous, but whatever. And then, everyone's going to say, oh, Beal is just ring chasing, like joining a super team. So, like, yeah, I think we just have to be like when KD joined the Warriors and, like, just embrace that villain role.
Yeah. I think last year, I think this was a Gambo point. He said the Suns want to be the villains, but might not be ready to be the villains.
Well, Grayson Allen will help with that.
Yeah. I mean, you lose Chris Paul, you bring in Grayson Allen. I saw someone call Grayson Allen pretty much like signing Patrick Beverley, like that effective villainry.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. And I approve of it. I'm not going to be, you know what? I might boo Grayson Allen at home games.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I might.
Totally. I'm not afraid to do that one bit.
Here's another thing you can say about Grayson, and especially in contrast to the guy we just traded, Deandre Ayton. You can't tell me that Grayson Allen isn't emotionally invested in the game.
Well, that's true. That's a good point. For better or for worse, he absolutely is.
Right. Oh, man.
That's a good point. Yeah. And actually that reminds me too, a little bit of like the off the court stuff. I've heard that Nurkic is like a locker room favorite.
Yeah.
Most of the time. So that's really good to know. Because again, that's kind of the opposite of Ayton too. Like, it was pretty clear that the locker room had turned. And I saw something today. I actually think this was also a Gambo tweet, or it may have been Bobby Marks. Bobby Marks has been like all over like the dramatic Sun stuff. But I saw that apparently Ayton not playing in Game 6 came as a surprise to his teammates. Game 6 against the Nuggets last year.
Yeah.
Apparently that was unexpected from his teammates. So, again, we don't necessarily know how true that is, but I think that's believable. He clearly was not in it. He wanted out. I mean, I want to make sure I'm not getting like ball sack sports on this one, but apparently Ayton changed his 2K avatar's jersey to a Blazers jersey within an hour of the trade.
Yeah, I saw that on Reddit.
Yeah, okay. So if that was real, like he was itching to get out. And I think that was pretty clear.
Right. And yeah, I mean, he was ready to go to Indianapolis last year, or Indiana.
Yeah.
He was ready to go do that. So yeah, sadly the writing was on the wall.
It was.
When he didn't play in that, like if you're gonna sit out a finals game with a bruised rib, that's pretty weak, man.
Right.
Like that's the one time deep in the playoffs. Like that's when you lay it out on the floor. Right. Yeah, who gives a crap about game 60 of the regular season? Whatever.
Right.
But in that situation, that's when you got to leave it out on the court.
Totally.
And we didn't see that. And if it's true, there's rumors about this as well. If Booker finally said that's enough, get Ayton out of here, that's something that gives me a little bit of relief to it. Yeah. If Booker was the one to say get him out, I'm into that.
Totally. No, I agree. I also think that Nurkic hasn't been the same since his injury. We know that. But he is known as a guy who fights hard, like for offensive rebounds. He always plays really, really hard. So that's going to be nice. That's going to be a change. Like, obviously, skill-wise, it's a downgrade. The only way I'm kind of talking myself into this is, I guess, a couple things. One, Nurkic is for sure a better fit with Vogel's system. Like, Frank Vogel does not have to convince Nurkic to try hard on defense. Like, that's Nurkic's MO. He's not going to be upset that he's not getting 10, 12, 15 shot attempts in a game. And as talented as Ayton still is, with Booker, Durant, and Beal, plus shooters like Eric Gordon, I mean, Ayton's talent was probably just going to get squandered anyway.
At this point, yeah. I mean, he was the first pick in the draft, and he would be the fourth scoring option on the Suns this year.
Right, exactly.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he gets it going in Portland, to be honest.
Yeah, no, totally.
I want to see him succeed and be accepted, although I think the Suns gave him every opportunity in the world to. Well, I really do think that.
Yeah.
We had to bribe the guy to play defense. Right. We had to feed him the ball in the first quarter so he'd get locked in and actually play defense, and that wouldn't even happen all the time.
And, I mean, Chris Paul essentially screamed at him until he submitted and actually tried. I mean, seriously. And it worked. I mean, it got us to the finals at one point. You know, right? Chris Paul made Ayton so much better.
Oh, man. It's interesting. I bet we see his numbers get cracked back up to, like 18 and 10 or even.
I was going to say 18 and 8. 18 and 8 is my prediction.
Yeah.
I would love for it to be a double-double. And I guess it could, but it's just hard for me to predict over 10 or more rebounds because of the lack of effort I saw for the last while.
I hear you. Yeah. Who knows? I'll have some interest in Portland this year, though, just to check in on how he's doing.
Yeah. Well, and I think Portland actually made out pretty well in all of this. And they're not done. I guess the word is they're trying to trade Drew Holiday, and they're going to try to get more pieces back.
And I think a lot of teams are interested, too.
Oh, and they should be. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So are you
send
ready
them
to
out
lose?
East.
Yeah, really. Are you ready to lose to Milwaukee in the finals again, though? That's what's going to happen, basically. Lillard is just the perfect fit with Giannis.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. And here's my thing that I'm still worried about. Who's guarding the point of attack? Who's going to guard Dame? Like, who's gonna guard Ja? Beal, Booker?
Yeah.
Are we gonna start Okogie?
It's probably gonna be. Well, it could be Okogie, but I bet it would be Booker because Booker wants to guard those guys. Like, he wants to step up. He knows his defense has improved. He wants to take that on. But
true, and he doesn't need 30 a game. He doesn't need to score 30 a game with Beal and Durant there now.
Right, that's true.
So,
but like, I think you or I could coach the Bucks at this point. Like, just put Giannis at the rim and put Dame at half court, and like, you're gonna score 150 points a game.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be. They will be a challenging team to beat, no doubt, and they still have Middleton.
And if he's healthy, man, and Brook Lopez.
Yeah, that's spooky. That's spooky.
It is. They're going to be really good.
We don't have to worry about that for a long time, though.
That's true. We would only see them in the finals. But that's my prediction. I think we're going to lose to the Bucks in the finals. Ugh. Like, you heard it here first. Get ready.
Yeah, and without that trade, no one would be willing to say that. But now it's not a crazy thing to say.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, Portland and Milwaukee make out really well in this.
Yeah.
Us, not so much.
I will say a lot of the Suns Central social media, Twitter, all that stuff, very down on the trade. But some of the big market media, they don't think it's that bad. And I wonder if that's literally everybody's still kind of being a homer for DA just because we've had to stick up for him for so long.
Well, I've seen a lot of
negative
about it. I've seen a lot of negativity towards Ayton too, but
right. Why did we lose the trade so bad then?
Right.
If he's not that good.
Totally. It's both. It's both for Suns fans. I think the issue is national media outlets never really knew how good Ayton was. All they talked about was how he rolled over in the playoffs. But, they're forgetting about, think about the bubble. He was so important in the bubble. And that next season, he was a huge part of the 21 season. And I think people have forgotten about that because it's just, a lot of recency bias of seeing him just stand around with his hands on his hips while the ball goes out of bounds, or letting the Nuggets get 3 offensive rebounds in a row and just standing there. I think that's what a lot of people remember of Ayton. So that's kind of my guess. But like, Ayton is extremely talented, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yep, I think that's all fair to say. And maybe with his new role, he turns into an all-star. That's not out of the question.
No, I would be happy for him.
I would too, as long as we're winning games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't think Portland's going to be great, but I don't know, Anthony Simons and Deandre Ayton, who knows?
Who knows?
But the other thing that I'm thinking about is we got rid of 2 guys and added 4. We're going to have to waive, I think, 2 people. So who is it going to be?
So I think the first and probably the most obvious one is Ish.
Yeah, I
think Ish Wainwright, it's finally time to go. And then I think the second one, I think there's some room for debate there.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of room for debate. I don't know who it's going to be.
So I'm gonna just put it between 2 guys.
Okay.
Off my mind, and I think Keon Johnson is one of them, the guy we just traded for, and then the kind of wild card one would be Damian Lee.
Interesting. I really don't know anything about Keon Johnson, so
I don't think he's anything special, but he's young. At this point, I don't see Damian Lee getting minutes, period, on this roster. So why not take a chance on a younger, he's very athletic, Keon Johnson.
Okay, is he?
like very athletic. It'd be maybe worth trying to develop him a little bit compared to keeping Damian Lee at the end of the bench all season long for nothing, is kind of how my brain sees that. But then again, you're trying to make a finals run, obviously, and you want veterans on the team, and Damian Lee fits that bill a little bit better. So those are my two guesses for the second cut.
Given that, I actually think it will be Keon Johnson. Just with the way that we have typically looked at younger guys, less experienced guys, I could see us wanting to go with the experience. Even if, I mean, Damian Lee or Keon Johnson, either of those guys probably aren't going to see the court a lot. No. So I think we would probably rather have someone with more experience.
Yeah, I probably lean that way too. Another option is another trade, but at this point, I don't know what we have that's sexy, that's tradable, that would even be worth it. You know, I don't know. Maybe we can do something to save a couple bucks, which is the opposite of what we did in this trade. Right. We actually took on more salary.
Yes.
But we have a faster way to get out of it now.
Right.
So that's the long-term silver lining, but yeah, kind of surprising to see your team be in the luxury tax and then just go a little bit deeper to get rid of your number one pick from a few years ago.
Yes, take on more money. I know. Matt Ishbia is a madman.
He's wild. That's for sure.
Is. And the rumor I saw is that we still want TJ McConnell.
That would make sense.
Yeah. To have an actual
true backup point guard. Yeah. In general, just a point guard.
Right.
There's no one on our roster other than two-way contract Saban Lee who can say, I am a point guard.
Yeah. Exactly.
Goodwin's on the edge. He's definitely a combo guard, but I think overall maybe more would consider him as a shooting guard, but he will be one of the backup ball handlers off the bench for sure.
Totally. Yeah, so I don't know. We may not be done, but I don't think that moves the needle that much.
No, it doesn't. If anything, it just saves a few extra bucks.
That too, yeah.
Solidifies the roster. I mean, we're, a month away from training camp now?
A month away from the regular season. Yeah, we're 2 weeks from training camp.
Time is flying, man.
I know. It really is.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right. That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, it's coming up real quick, and I still get nervous about this whole thing in general. We're obviously building a finals team, but we have a new coach. We have one player left from our previous finals trip. How are these guys going to be able to gel between now and, when it comes time to actually start winning games? I mean, we can get away with it in the first month or two of the season, whatever, but at some point, we really got to hope that chemistry builds quickly between these guys.
Avoid a Brooklyn Nets situation.
Right. Exactly. All right.
So, no, it's a good point, though.
Okay, so any other thoughts about the rotation in general? Do you think anything really got twisted around? Do you think anyone's not going to see any minutes anymore because of this trade?
Well, okay, so Josh Okogie actually is what comes up.
Right.
Does Grayson Allen kind of shove him out of the rotation a little bit?
I would... I would hate for Grayson Allen to be our starter, our fifth starter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
say that. So. But yeah, I think Okogie is the one who maybe has the most heat on him.
Yeah.
This training camp to retain some of the minutes he was getting last year. I think he probably has the biggest challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know if much changes.
Yeah, I don't know, because Okogie is pretty much forced to play small forward.
Yeah.
No matter who's in at 1 and 2. Like,
Right.
I don't. Yeah, it just puts him in such an interesting spot. That'll be a fun one to watch for sure.
Yeah. We'll have options. Yeah, I mean, the depth on this team, I think, is one of the biggest differences from last year to this year. We have serious depth.
Absolutely, yeah. There are a lot of guys who can do a lot of things, even though there isn't a true point guard or whatever.
Right.
Still plenty of guys who can handle the ball, who can guard the point of attack. It'll work out. I'm not nervous about this season at all, despite, probably not having a ton of chemistry heading into the season.
Right.
But
No,
with
and
this
we'll
star
figure that
power, you'll get past it.
Give us a couple months, and that'll get figured out.
That's right. All right. Favorite Deandre Ayton memories. Let's do it. Let's be good to DA one last time before we probably don't talk about him a ton after this.
Yeah. Probably the value. I mean, you have to start there. That was great. Funny that was a Jay Crowder, DeAndre Ayton connection, and both of those guys left on sour notes.
Oh, yeah.
But still, I mean, that play is an all-time Suns play. That was super exciting.
Right.
So
definitely
that one.
the most exciting, meaningful Suns play that I have seen live in my lifetime.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. It was. That's one I will never forget.
And
Still
on my
chills.
birthday.
And on your birthday. That's right.
It was incredible.
Oh, yeah, because the season was pushed back that year.
Yep.
I totally forgot about that. Because usually the draft is right around your birthday, but the value is on your birthday. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Quite the B-Day present. Thank you, DeAndre. Yeah. And just that amazing moving holding screen that D-Book set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that was maybe the real MVP of the play. But
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was good.
Yeah. I also remember there was a game really close to Christmas. I want to say it was Ayton's rookie year, and he lit up Jokic. That was a pretty exciting Ayton moment. I remember being very excited for him at that point.
So I think he had 28 points, 19 rebounds that game.
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yep. I remember I was in an airport and I watched that.
Yeah.
That was cool. And that was early on in his career, and
It was.
those were those times where you could get like really excited about him still.
And he dunked the ball really hard a couple times. Yeah, I remember watching it on my laptop because I had gone back to Wyoming for Christmas. It was the last time I went back to Wyoming for Christmas, so it's been a while. But I remember watching it like with my family on my laptop.
That is good.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite moments. It's funny that in the outline here you have written down any time that he tried or cared. But I'll go one more step with that. There were, let me count them, 3 games. We'll just say 4, with counting a 19.20 rebound night, where he went for 20 and 20.
Yeah.
The big beef with the points.
Yes.
And like, those were the games where you just think, okay, this guy can compete with Joel Embiid, can compete with Jokic. Like, there were nights where we thought that, and we weren't crazy for thinking it. And those definitely fell off. So those games, though, it's fun to watch a big man dominate.
Yeah. He did have some good ones. And the bubble, too. Just the bubble as a whole. I think that was a special team because they really were the catalyst for all of our success, I think. So,
right.
Yeah. And Ricky Rubio was good for Ayton, too. I mean, no Chris Paul, but he was still good for Ayton. It was fun Ayton seemed to play well and had fun in the bubble too. So
yeah. Ayton's been pretty spoiled with point guards over the years. If you think about, there was one year where he had nothing, if I remember correctly. But Ricky Rubio, then Chris Paul for the last few years.
Yeah.
And now you're going to Portland, and they just traded Dame, and I don't know if they have a point guard who's going to want to pass the ball. So It's going to be a very different situation for him. I think he'll get fed plenty, but I think he'll finally realize that grabbing offensive rebounds is going to be the way to score points. I think he'll finally realize that this year.
Yeah, I saw people online pointing out that Portland fans are going to start yelling, "Why did he fade away?" And I'm like, yes, you will. You absolutely will. Or why did he chuck up that elbow jumper when he could take one dribble and get into range that he could dunk?
Yeah. Oh, on the opposite note, though, I saw someone say, remember how you guys all wanted DA to dunk more? Nurkic dunks at like half the rate that Ayton did.
Oh, great.
Not a lot of flushes coming from Nurkic this year, probably more from Eubanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But remember, Nurkic is a top 5 center in the NBA. Oh wait, I left out a descriptive word. Top 5 Bosnian center.
There you go. Here's one though. I will say he's a top 5 screen setter in the league.
Okay.
So that will be
good.
Work
with that.
And that makes me think like, man, maybe Nurkic and Chris Paul would have been fun if he could just set roadblock picks.
Yeah.
And give Chris all the room in the world. That would have been fun. But I have a feeling Booker and Beal will probably be able to do all right with that.
Yeah. He also seems like a pretty funny guy. Like he tweeted the Suns and 4 guy like right away. So, I mean, personality-wise, he seems like a fun guy to have on the team.
Yeah, he'll fit right in. I think he will. That'll be good for us.
Like it. All right. Well, with that, we want to hear your thoughts on the trade, of course, at Sunny and PHX Pod on Twitter. But we'll move to the non-sports section of the show. What is your second favorite grocery store?
So, my second favorite grocery store, Fry's is number 1. I don't mess around. Fry's is the way to go.
That's why I didn't say favorite, because we don't need to talk about Fry's any more than we already do.
Right. Number 2, though, it's tough, but I will say it's Bash's. And it might be due to location because it's the closest one to my house.
Okay.
But I do enjoy it because it's not crammed with people all the time. It feels like so many grocery stores I go to, it's just full of people. Bash's, it's not even roomier than others. It just seems like it's less busy, which I actually appreciate. I'm sure Bash's doesn't appreciate that, but
probably not.
I do. So that might be my. The bakery's solid too, I will say.
Okay.
The bakery is very solid at Bash's.
I haven't been there in a long time, but we actually have a gift card there that we won like a year ago. That I totally
use it up or give it to me.
Need to. I am actually going to go with Sprouts.
I knew you were going to say it. I knew you were going to say that.
Okay, so proximity is definitely a big part of that. And just the quality. Like their meat is really good. You can get like decent steaks there. Their brats are really good. Their like pre-made hamburgers are good. It's expensive, but you get what you pay for. So I don't necessarily like go there all the time, but if I'm trying to make something really good, like if I'm doing like brats with onions and peppers and stuff, I typically like to go to Sprouts for that kind of thing.
Do you ever dabble with AJ's? If you're going to Sprouts,
no. AJ's is like a step above. I don't like. Sometimes my family will do like cheese and nuts and stuff like that, like salami and all that for like charcuterie from AJ's. Like, if you want to be fancy, do that. But
Yeah.
no, I'm not typically an AJ's guy, but their stuff is good.
Oh, it's very good. We'll dabble once in a while.
Yeah, Sprouts, their bulk stuff at Sprouts is solid. Their gummy bears are really good, and you can get them in bulk.
Bulk gummy bears.
Yes.
That sounds like a bad idea for me.
That sounds like my first jazz album. Bulk gummy bears.
Nice. I like that. Is it a track on the album too?
Yeah, oh, definitely. Title track, for sure.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
I
and
love
it's
it.
25 minutes long.
That's the only way.
Yeah.
Only way. All right. I think that wraps things up. We thank you all for tuning in. Check us out on Twitter at Sunny and PHX Pod and our YouTube, Sunny and PHX Podcast. We'll be back in a week or two with another episode. We thank you all for tuning in, and go Suns.